to sit back and relax to the sound of Radiolution.
Hello, this is Nesh.
And this is K, and this is Nesh and K Talks.
Today we have a special guest from Catbytes called Damian.
Hi, thanks for inviting me.
So Damian, the reason why we brought you on was because I've always been interested in the Catbytes story. As someone who currently works with someone that used to work with you, John, I've always wanted to kind of hear it from you live in the flesh. So
you want to hear all about John, the truth about John?
The truth about John Thompson. I don't think that
sounds like a documentary.
I don't think
about John.
Honestly,
okay, I'll stay off John.
I mean, you can bring it up wherever you feel fit, but I don't want to give him too much credit right now. Gets enough as.
Yeah.
But so yeah, today I just wanted to go through like kind of what made you, because you started Catbytes, is that correct?
Yeah.
So what drove you to do that?
Well, I've been running a volunteer project since 2014. So prior to that, I've been working as a web developer for about 15 years, and I was in my early 40s by that time. And I was thinking it paid all right by that stage after 15 years, but I didn't have anything to do with the money. I didn't have any expensive hobbies or kids or that sort of thing. Yeah. So I just thought, I want to do something else. I can't see myself tapping away for until I retire. So I took a break from work and I joined the Rushy Green Time Bank. That was the first thing that came up. And I met Philippe Granger, who now no longer runs it, but it's now Lewisham local. But he got me in touch with some people who had some funding to do something to do with IT and older people. Oh, okay. And I had the idea, why don't we teach IT to older people? I don't know if that had occurred to anyone. But anyway, I knew someone from the Lewisham Pensioners Forum who had been doing that before, because so it wasn't an original idea. They'd been doing something called the Silver Surfers Clubs. So we all got together and organised this club, and it used to run at the Point in Rushy Green and that ran for 3 months. And then it carried on for the next year. But during that time, I had to get a job. And my new employer said, you can have an afternoon off a week to carry on running the club.
That's quite
nice. I was taking a slight pay cut, but getting to do the volunteering.
But that's quite nice, though, to have like a job support your passion.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few jobs that do encourage volunteering now. But in this case, they just really needed someone to run their website. So I said, yeah, I'll do it if I can get the afternoon. So it worked out. They didn't have an awful lot of work for me to do. So I was basically doing more Catbytes stuff. But it wasn't Catbytes at that stage. But I turned it into a community interest company called Catbytes in 2016. And then after 3 years, my boss sold the company in 2017. Not quite 3 years, but never mind. And I got a cut of the handover to the new company. Oh, really? And so after that, I was working full-time for Catbytes. So I gave up working, just did a bit of contract work, and just ran more of these digital drop-ins. So by that time, we were running about 3 or 4 of those, up to 3. And I was doing a bit of website work. I didn't know if we were supposed to be a hosting company or a web design company. Or I'm not a designer, but I could build websites. Yeah, a bit under the limbo. And just trying lots of different things. And then the next thing that happened was the lockdown, really, and that stopped everything, obviously.
Yeah,
but
that must have been crazy, like in terms of like just how much it would have stopped everything.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you must have.
No, because I'm just thinking, especially because the whole point of it is to kind of like help older people kind of get into digital skills. Yeah, like I'm just thinking, like
I think that's the biggest deep end.
Yeah, I was gonna say like because in terms of COVID, not yourself, Kylie, but I was super vulnerable. So I wasn't even, like, my family wouldn't let me leave the house. I was on strict, so I'm just thinking about the older people who are like obviously I'm considered vulnerable, but I'm in my 20s. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
everyone was, people were. So we started something called Virtual Aid, which was to help people online. And I was quite pleased with the name Virtual Aid, but the actual service wasn't so great. If you try and teach people, I'd spent so much time saying, press that button, that button, look at that button, press it, the one I'm pointing to, but you can't do that. I think we all found trying to teach people over the phone when
it's just different.
you're not quite sure what they're looking at. Or
That's literally
if it's on, or have you switched it on, and they're sort of, I'm not quite sure. Then it just became too much pressure on your patients. I do say
it's way too complex.
The main skill for digital buddies, is patience, not technical 100%. Skills, but it was a bit too much. So. Anyway, that didn't quite take off. But what we did start doing during that time was loaning out laptops and devices to school children. And that was something that was suggested to us by a counsellor called William Cooper, who's the counsellor in Evelyn Ward. And, he helped us out a bit financially.
That's very good, actually, for him to propose that idea.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of counsellors, he's passionate about local people. He's a school governor. And he just... He suggested to us, I suppose I thought, hardware, that's going to have all kinds of issues associated with it. But, I just did a shout out, and we got loads of devices because lots of people were very aware of the school's issue and children not being able to take lessons at that time.
As someone who's been a part of the digital divide, as in when I was younger, we didn't even have a PC for the longest time. I got a laptop through a scheme that they gave to local children. Because I think my parents were earning below a certain amount. I can't remember the name of the scheme. Bear in mind, I was 8 myself, so I'm not going to remember. But yeah, just getting that laptop did so much for me. Just being able to kind of being able to learn how to use the internet and just research, especially when I started to move to secondary school. So those things for school children are really important. And there's a lot more people in that digital divide than you realise.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think people think tech is very... What's the word? It's normalised, but it actually isn't.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised at how many people in the UK that aren't tech illiterate.
And even the way that you said it was for you at the age of 8, when I think of the tech divide, I always feel straight away I think of older people. But looking back at it, I think a lot of people who were either from backgrounds where they didn't have a lot of money, you were actually really late to IT classes. When people were switching on, and you'll be like, okay, I'm actually a little bit confused here. And looking back, the divide starts really at home. It doesn't really have to be it's just because someone is old that they don't really get IT. There could literally be I think there's probably a lot of kids that unfortunately they can't afford a laptop, so they're really behind when it comes to learning how to use Chrome, learning how to use documents and stuff like that. So
I mean, it's good to hear that in a way. I mean, it's not good to hear that, but to be honest,
I know what you mean.
We were getting all these devices. I really thought some of them are really bad, and I can't believe we're giving them out to people. And one of the teachers at Lucas Vale School that we were helping, she said they're really pleased to get anything, and I felt quite bad about it. But it's good to hear the other side that because they weren't computers when I was young either, so I didn't.
I think the reason why you're saying that, and I think you shouldn't feel bad about it. You're just thinking, well, these laptops are secondhand or refurbished, or these laptops are not up to scratch for a new user. And sometimes that is the case. Some people do, when they do give away old laptops or old devices, they're not well kept.
Yeah.
And so I completely understand where you're coming from. But I think that's how bad the actual situation is, that they are willing to accept anything just to get, just to crawl out.
Get their foot in the door, honestly, just to kind of learn.
100%.
Okay, this is how I turn something on. As long as I can open up documents, I really think I'm going to be okay with it. So, yeah.
And another thing I hadn't realised was laptops are actually probably less common in households now than they were maybe 10 years before, because of everyone switching to smartphones. But obviously you need a laptop for homework. So it was a sudden crisis. No one was really anticipating that. And I hadn't realised that things had gone so much in that direction of mobile technology.
Yeah, everyone kind of already had, I guess, that the house family desktop PC. And that was the one that we kind of had. It was a while till we got that. But even when you got that,
you had to share it.
You had to share it. And there was no internet. I didn't have internet access. So yeah, it was literally just for typing. Maybe you'd play the couple games that came on it, and that was pretty much
I didn't even play games. You know how bad it was for me? I remember because my two siblings were going to college and uni.
Yeah.
So it's Nesh, like, get off.
Yeah.
Like, we have assignments.
They can have the lock-in for the assignments.
Do you know what I mean? So I didn't really get the opportunity for that. That's why when I got my laptop, I was like, yeah, this is mine.
This is yours, yeah.
I don't have to deal with no one. No, but in that regard, though, when I think about, like, because my so I have 3 nieces. One has just started secondary school. So she's I think she's coming to the end of year 7 by this year. She does all her homework on her phone, and I just find it mad. Like when I was a kid, I had paper. Like I had a bunch of papers given to me. I got to bring it back into school with my lesson. She's submitting her maths homework. Like, we got that towards the end of our year, right? Like when we was at school, because we started doing maths homework and stuff like that online. But
was it My Maths?
My Maths.
There we
Shout
go.
out to My Maths. You could cheat it, by the way. That's the problem with online stuff. There is ways to figure the system. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I hadn't realised that you could do that you could do homework on your phone. It just, I think that seems very unlikely that would. But how could you do an essay or I just.
Yeah, you just wouldn't believe it because you haven't lived it.
No, I haven't. No.
Lived experience is a big thing, and when you haven't lived through something, it becomes like a different world when you actually process it. So
I can't imagine someone taking it seriously when they're doing it all with their thumb. But
especially like when you're like doing it and like maybe you just got notifications going off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It would just be. Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do an assignment on my phone though. Yeah. I have to do it on.
I think the things that they submit is probably like maybe like some short form.
Maybe, but just knowing that one time
like
I was. Because like I like to troll my nieces, innit? So sometimes when I see my oldest with her phone, I'm like, who you texting? And one time I did it, I felt bad. She was doing her science homework and she needed help, so I ended up helping her. But I was sitting there and I was like, wow. I just didn't expect that.
You can never really catch them out like, they're on their phone. I mean, my homework's on my phone.
Because I only do it because I used to have it happen to me all the time. Like if I'm on my computer, my mum's thinking I'm playing games. It's like, no, I'm doing history homework. I need to research online. But it's a different world now, and I think something that catbytes, that's something you should appreciate that you're doing as a service. Like,
I mean, we're not mainly doing children. That's partly why I'm showing a lot of ignorance about how children do homework. But so we go back loads of laptops, and the schools are very good at getting them back, obviously. So when the government computers came back, we got all the computers back, our computers, and then laptops, and then we were able to loan them out to our main core group, who are more like isolated people, older people. About 80% of them are 55 plus, and that remains the case. But I would like to do something teaching coding to young people, but we haven't got there yet. We've got some sort of young-ish people. Quite often, I don't want to generalize too much, but quite often they have autism and they help with the fixing. So that's a sort of growing area. So we get our laptops in, and then they need fixing, and there's some young people who are sort of trying to find work, and maybe they find it difficult in other ways, and that's something that they can do. So we want to grow that.
It's kind of interesting.
I think that's a very interesting way to do it as well, because you're giving opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not. That's the thing, though. People don't realize any small opportunity can just.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ideal. The holy grail is to actually get someone a job, but I don't know about all that sort of thing. But we're trying to get more into that, so it's skills for work and that sort of thing.
It's a process. You can't obviously, I'm not telling you to jump the gun, but I'm just saying step by step. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like from the people that I've spoken to, like, just so you're aware of this, Kylie, we do a digital drop-in, so that is what catbytes essentially run in these areas. But the one that I'm in, obviously my organisation kind of leads it. We just kind of give in the back-end information of who attends to catbytes.
Okay.
But at least in my experience, I've only worked here maybe 5th month. So it's my 5th month here, and the amount of local people that I know that are telling me about other spots, like other drop-ins, and saying how much it's helped them, and seeing people that, like, for example, my colleague has helped years ago come in 2 years later because they remember getting that sort of help there.
Oh, that's really nice.
And I just think it is a service that's needed, and I think people don't appreciate it for what it truly is worth to that community. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we're doing 15 drop-ins now.
15
around the borough of Lewisham.
That's big.
And yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's big.
And they are spread out across the borough. Now, I don't know if this is preemptive, I don't know for certain, but on Get Online Week, we had all 15 on our map, and it was a big Lewisham-sized bulge of drop-ins compared to all the others in the other boroughs. So I don't want to say that Lewisham is the London capital of digital inclusion. I don't want to say it, but I have put that out there.
You could be.
No, we on the map. We on the map.
Could be. But
nice.
it's difficult to get all the full figures. But we saw we supported 650 people last year.
Wow, that's big.
That's individuals. Yeah. So, but you can see it on the front page of our website. Like we've got a tally of how many people we've supported. It clocks up because it reads from our database.
But that's important though, and it's good that it reads from your database because every time you input it will just go up.
Yeah. We've got a portal for volunteers, so they can add in who they spoke to, and that goes straight into our database. But then, if they don't do it, they don't all do it. Then we chase them up and ask them who they spoke to.
Yeah,
like me and Nancy and I, who are based in Crofton Park Library, we're the administrators, and we chase them up.
Yeah.
So that's a sort of system.
15 drop-ins. That's quite really a lot. Nice, yeah. In terms of like how do you pick a drop-in? What is the process in? Oh, we're going to put a drop in this location.
Well, on our website, catbytes.community, you can see a map of all our drop-ins across the borough, and essentially what we're looking for are cold spots, like areas where we don't have a drop-in currently. Right. So currently we've got drop-ins in most of Lewisham. I mean, they spread across the south and right round, but I mean, one area that's got slightly more space is Forest Hill, and then central Deptford by the High Street. So those are two places, and it'd probably be libraries. We're going for libraries quite a lot now. So
I think libraries are a good spot for it to be in, though.
Yeah,
because libraries, just from my personal memory, like in terms of like libraries, that not that they're short staffed, but they only have a dedicated amount of staff, and then having an external group kind of come in and do that. Is probably really good value for both sides.
They also kind of already have
you get to use the space and don't have to you're hosting it, but like you get to use the space, and then they get people to kind of lead it and know more about it in terms of specialized skill. Does that make sense?
They already have the stuff that you need as well, so it's already literally there for the weighing.
They've got ICT suites.
Yep.
The staff are very keen quite often because people come in and ask for support because they think libraries will give it, but the library staff are very busy. So if they can say, right, come here Friday morning and we'll have someone here who will be able to help you with those things, then they like it. So, and it means you get a sort of snowball effect, a gradual accumulation of people because you've got constant footfall.
Yeah.
Whereas when we've tried maybe some churches and coffee mornings, they're great, but then new people don't come. They have a set group of people that are always there, so it's not quite as good. So
I get what you mean. It's kind of like it does get volume of people in, but it's people that are coming in for maybe the social dynamic of it. Yeah. I mean, and social is good. It's good. Good.
People
100%.
won't necessarily travel just to enhance their digital skills, and we're trying to encourage people who wouldn't normally do it as well. But I think with the libraries, they do get the people that come in hoping to get that help. So then they can be redirected to the library, something in the library. And the libraries seem to be quite keen on it. So we're kind of building that relationship.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of libraries, they always actually want their facilities to be used. But it's kind of hard nowadays because I guess a lot of people they just have their stuff at home. So either they just go to the library to use Wi-Fi or the books, but then the IT side of things, they kind of get neglected. You only really see people really using the IT stuff for printing. That's the one thing I always see, either printing, scanning, and photocopying. And then the Wi-Fi gets used, and then it's just a study place.
It makes sense because that type of equipment, most people, if they don't have we were just talking about people that don't have devices. Imagine you have a device, but then think about it, getting printing at home and stuff like that costs money. So
you just go to the library to get that done. So that's why I think a lot of their IT facilities, it just kind of unfortunately catches dust. And when you work at a library, it kind of is sad because it's like we would like people to use them, and then when people do come in, they're like, okay, I actually want to use it. Maybe I don't have it at home, but now I need help. And then now that they actually have you to direct them to, it's actually kind of nice to know that, okay, we're going to be using this, and we actually have someone to come in and help. So yeah, I think libraries really do like that.
I think there's quite a lot of people who never wanted to use the internet but sort of have to now. So because they've got to fill in an online form. The NHS app is, one of those things that's been plugged again. And there's a lot of people who find all that sort of thing really tricky. So, having people that can actually take people through something they have to do but don't want to, that's increasingly what we're doing. So it's not just teaching, it's just we can hold your hand through this process.
But sometimes they need that because some people it's not necessarily that they don't want to learn. Like some residents, at least like Phoenix residents that have attended drop-ins, it's not that they can't learn or not want. It's just because once you get to a certain age that you just get forgetful and you know what I mean. And it's fine to need someone to support you through that process. It's just unfortunately after COVID, you don't really have places like that. Do you know what I mean? Like if you think about it, COVID happened. There wasn't a national shout that everything is moving online. Companies just moved online. Do you know what I mean? Like look at banks, right? There used to be a lot more bank stations. Now if you go to banks, some of them they don't even have a not a store but like a bank open in your area anymore. Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's crazy to me because I never really, because here's the other thing, right? Both me and my friend Coyote, we're 25. We've grown up with the internet our whole lives, right? So we always saw it as a shortcut. Oh, we can do it online. Yeah, please do. I don't even want to talk to someone. Do you know what I mean? But then you think about it, we've just been raised in that way and have gotten used to that. We've never lived a life where, we have to go into the bank, do it. And then it's like when you take an option away, then you realize how significant of a problem it actually is to those people affected. Yeah,
I mean, it's digital exclusion or the digital divide is really exacerbated by a lot of things. But it's surprising what a big divide. Obviously, age is the main one, but on Friday I was talking to someone who's never surfed. Never surfed might be a really old word. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's from my era, but never been onto a browser and done a search. So we did that, and that this is completely. I mean, I don't know how to say it, normal person. I mean, not, but they just never done that. Yeah, and that's still the case with quite a few people.
Normal is not to cut you off, sorry, but normal is like. The biggest thing about the digital divide is you won't know what normal is unless you're that person because everyone's sense of normal is different.
It's gonna be different,
yeah. I don't want to, sort of raise controversial things about the meaning of normal. It's just she was perfectly capable of doing it. Once I started teaching 100%. her, she was
rizzing for it. She was going straight for it. Nah, 100% understand that. I think the best feeling that I've gotten from especially participating in a digital drop-in myself is seeing someone who says to me at the beginning, can you just do it for me? And I'm like, no, let's try and teach you to do it. Yeah. And then seeing them actually do it after explaining it to them in whatever way works for them. Because sometimes you can explain it one way, it won't work. So you have to try a different way. But the greatest thing about it, you think it's just us that needs patience, but it's also them as well, because some people, if they don't get the help instantly, they might not have the patience to stay or to listen in. But that's the beauty of the digital drop-in. It's like you kind of see how keen these people are just trying to get into to learn this skill set that wasn't taught to them before. And there's no public syllabus for it, so
I think it really gives you an insight into how much you take for granted, because you can understand people's frustration. Yep. And I find things frustrating with going online all the time, and then you see it at a much more basic level, but it really makes sense that people find it confusing.
100%.
And there's no actual digital driving license or digital literacy. You never. Yep. There's no. And I think it's always going to be a challenge for everyone. Yeah. I mean. Yeah, but I don't think that there will be a point. I mean, I'm probably, by the time, if I ever get to 80, I'll probably be excluded from... there's going to be things coming through that I don't know about.
100%.
There are now,
But I think that's just how it will become, because unfortunately, in terms of education, I mean, it's not necessarily a problem, right? Because the older you are, the less likely you're going to be needing to use certain things. Yeah. But the biggest thing about digital exclusion is the thing that I always say is it's always the people that are kind of not at the end of their career necessarily that are affected. It's the people that are kind of established and they're either translate into a different one, or like they've just finished their career and now it's like they're just living their like retired life, and kind of then there's no middle point is what I'm trying to say. Like for those that are coming towards to the end of their life, not saying that I wish that on anyone, but I'm just saying everyone has a start and an end, but you're not really worried about those skills. Does that make sense?
No.
You usually have family or friends wherever you are that kind of look after you at that point. Do you know what I mean? But I do think it's necessary. When I say digital literacy, I think, in my opinion, there should be something to kind of support those in the middle that don't get the early education of it, that have missed out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there wasn't really a stopgap for those people that were affected for COVID. Does that make sense? Like, COVID happened, everything switched online, and then there's a bunch of people that have never gone online before without needing family to help them.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering, like, when you said that, it's like there's no, I guess, full on, like, I guess, like, course that everyone can just do.
Yeah.
Like, when someone's, like, really, they're struggling with maths, there's, like, a maths level 1 course that they can kind of get, and it's like, okay, you know, shows that I've done this, there's, like, a certificate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be actually pretty nice to have, like, I know, like, a digital skills level 1 kind of course that people can, like, kind of drop in, and, like, if they want to take this, like, further, and they can just, like, actually, you know, get a certificate and a course, which, like, I feel like when you can show that to, like, maybe people that you want to apply for a job, that not only do I know what I'm doing, but this is a certificate, like, it's known across people. I think that would be kind of nice.
Like a publicly recognized.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking for work, certificates are always something you want, or letters after your name and that sort of thing.
Because when I'm applying for jobs, like, they always say, you know, maths level 1, English level 1.
Yeah.
It's like, I can understand, like, people who maybe they were struggling, they now know, okay, this is what I have to get. But when it's like, they say, good with IT skills, I feel like that's so broad for someone to be like, okay, good with IT skills, let me see how I can get there. But I feel like if there's, like, a digital skills level 1, level 2, I thought that would be kind of nice to.
I think, I mean, you know, from when I was applying for work, I was used to say, oh, you know, I know Word perfect as it was back then. This is like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Word for Windows and that sort of thing. And you wanted to say you knew those things. I think with older people, there is a sort of resistance to going back to school. They they don't want to start on all of that again. But I think also the point is, like, we have a tool called Learn My Way, which is good for people practicing their IT skills. But in a way, you could do that, or you could just try using Word. I mean, there's not a single, like, say, a driving test. That means you can drive. You're allowed to drive.
That's exactly
there isn't
what I'm
exactly
a
thing where I mean, getting work means certificates. So you want those certificates. You want to have passed an exam, but you know, there's not a way that you can tell I know how to use the internet, because it's always changing as well.
That's true.
That's
actually true. Yeah, because a certificate, like, back then, like, say if there was something like that, a digital skills level 2 that came out in 2012, say if I got that now, it's going to be completely different. Now maybe I got to retake the test, so maybe that is actually that's a good point.
But that's one thing that I should actually mention is, I know from speaking to people that I've worked with, where they don't want an academic way of learning what they need to do. I think a lot of people forget, like, some people are very vocational. They need to, like, be in the moment. They need to actively be doing it over and over again, like, to make it a habit. Do you know what I mean? And so that's a really important mention from Damian. The fact that not everyone wants that. Oh, I don't want to have to be on a course for 6 weeks to learn what I'm trying to do. I just need to learn this one little skill set.
One thing, yeah.
And the thing is about digital skills, like you guys said, it's evolving. Digital is always evolving. And we will never be able to, like, always be up to date. It's not something you can always be up to date. It's always, like, changing and evolving, right? So I do agree with that.
And I think you do have to teach. I mean, if you stand in front of a group of people and tell them about the internet and tell them this is how it works, and especially with some older people, they're very sort of polite. They just watch you, and they're not complaining. They're not saying, but they'll probably go away and feel like I don't know what that was about. But you've got to sit with people and get them to do things. And a lot of it's about confidence as well, making them feel they can do it, because there's a lot of wariness. So it's really got to be hands-on and practical. That's my feeling. But I'm not against courses.
No. But I do agree with Damian. The amount of people I've had that like they have no confidence. Like, and also you have to understand how would it make you feel if I need an appointment but I can't make an appointment. You feel very like you would feel bad about it. You would feel ashamed about it. Do you know what I mean? And so people don't realize it, but that spirals because so many things go online now. And so it gets to a point where they think they're like it's a different world, to the point where they can't understand it. And so you kind of need to kind of not take their hand, but kind of like slowly drip feed it to them.
That's
so
what
it's like teaching someone how to swim, you know, like you got to learn a few strokes before you can
go in the deep end.
Go in the deep end, do you know what I mean?
That's why I feel like they got like a lot of people got put in the deep end, like out of nowhere, 100%. Because when you're like learning, say pre-COVID, you're kind of learning a lot about the internet and like online stuff. But as soon as it came to COVID, it was like, okay, we was preparing you for like normal day-to-day like online stuff. COVID came through and it's like, okay, now everything that we've taught you, that kind of it's not going out the window, but there's so much more that we didn't even know that you would now need to know. Is like crazy. It's like, okay, I was learning how to do documents and like Word and like type and stuff. Okay, now I need to put my NHS documents all online. That legit just comes out of nowhere. And I felt like that was like probably like the most unfortunate timing for like people who are like learning online skills and stuff like that, because I know where they're just thrown in the deep end. COVID happens, so many things are online. You are learning how to do maybe PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that, and then okay, now I need to do all my documents for my health to be online, and you don't know how to do that. So and with obviously much more awareness of security online, that creates a bit of a difficult one, because you know, you want to say to people you want to have a password with 8 characters and numbers and asterisks or whatever, but then you've got to remember it or write it down somewhere where you remember when you wrote it down. And you know, so it's a difficult one. It's like in the end you might say, just go for the simple one, but you know,
but it is the longest part tricky, of like helping people, especially with account management. It's like trying to because you have to convince them to not do an easy one, but in the same sense it's like, if they just forget it, then they'll never be able to access it. And so you have this middle part of like, do I just tell them to use the same one? Or I try not to, because I feel like there's ways to keep the passwords. Whether it's writing them down and then taking a picture and then, you know, having that for yourself. But then there's also the issue of like, if her phone gets stolen or their phone gets stolen, you know, they now have access to their cards. So it's very difficult, especially for the older generation in that regard. But I think you have to kind of find the middle ground with that individual, and kind of the best part about what I do is I get to learn their story as I'm talking to them. And so you kind of know which way to go when it comes to the individual themselves. And that's why I think your take on it's a very hands-on practical thing, 100% has to be. I think maybe a password that's pretty obscure but is used all the time so they know it. I'm not sure if that's strictly the right way you should do it, but I agree. It's a difficult one to kind of recommend.
It's like I'm trying to think of one, like say if I was a little bit older, like I'd probably go for, I don't know, wife's name, maybe something in the middle, capitals here and there. What
I would normally
stuff
do
like that.
I still tell them to do an 8-character password with symbols and stuff. But what I always say is have it so you change 1 or 2 characters for different things. And so, like, you still remember the base password, but then in your head, it's just trying. For
this one, it's a different.
Do you get what I mean? Because that's how I taught some people, and they said that they found that useful, and now they don't look at the paper. They just, but it just depends on the person as well. Do you know what I mean? Because that can also be really bad for people that when they realize that 1 or 2 characters change, they're now trying. It's a rush of Do you know what I mean? There's a lot more of a personal touch to the service than you realise. Yeah.
Quite a few. One complaint we get is that people have got grandchildren and children that can do this, but when they ask them to do it, they just the grandchildren they grab the phone and say, I've done it, and give it back.
Yep.
So
it's true though.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I was probably guilty of that.
So was I.
When my mum would ask me like how to do this, or like being on the smart TV. Sometimes I'd like just press button. Okay, this is how you record this. You got the bitch bash push. Like, and then I'd be like, I just showed you. Why are you calling me down? And I'll be like, no, I'm thinking about it. Like, I didn't really show her the remote control. Press this, go to the left, go up. So yeah, it's like, because you teach other people, like if I was to teach, I don't know, someone that's my age, I can pretty much do what I did. Yeah, do this, and they'll probably get it. But yeah, when I'm teaching someone who...
It's a different ballgame.
Yeah, different ballgame.
I think you're much more patient with other people's parents than you are with your own.
Oh, no,
correct.
100%.
It's like, how you can do your penance, but that's what I'm doing. Because my mum made the same complaint about me, but, you know...
The thing is, and I've said this because I've had loads of older people tell me that you know, their children... just don't. The thing is, it's not the child's fault or your fault.
Yeah.
You just have a personal relationship with each other.
Yeah,
when you have a personal relationship with someone, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Like the way I talk to Coyote is not the way I would talk to my manager. Do you know what I mean? And so like you have to kind of understand that like it's completely understandable that when you're teaching someone that isn't related to you, and the only relation you have is, you know, they're here to get help.
Yeah.
You're much more forgiving and much more understanding of the situation relative to, I've gone to visit my mum. Nesh, can you show me how to do this on an app? Nah. You know what I mean? It's a completely, you have a completely different reaction, right? But yeah, I've always, like, at the beginning, I never really understood the drop-in, especially like the first day I did it, because I was like, this is weird. But then, as soon as I did like the first person, helped with the first person, instantly got why they needed it. Instantly realized how important it was.
Did you think it was something that people wouldn't need? Like they must know this already, or
no?
that?
What I thought was that they're not willing to learn.
Okay.
Because I always had a stereotype that older people just don't want to listen, like learn from a younger person.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've had that experience where I'm younger, so they don't really take me seriously, and so I always thought that was the case, but little did I know that, like, no, that is not the case. Don't judge a book by its cover. Like, do you know what I mean? A lot of the time, they're eager to learn from you, and so honestly, it's just a rewarding experience.
Yeah, and that's good. It's seeing it from the other side that you're benefiting. You're gaining connections that you didn't think you'd get so easily.
100% not.
Which I would say is true for me as well. I was quite surprised that people were quite grateful for this help. Like I've been working in IT, like, you know, not really seeing what the benefit of what I was, and then when I started doing the drop-ins, you feel it straight away. You're immediately having an impact on people.
You're instantly like, it's not instant gratification, but it's like you're literally visually seeing someone benefit from the service because you're the one. It's a one-to-one tailored experience essentially. Not trying to sound corporate, but you know what I mean.
I don't mind that. That's good. I'll use that. That'll be on.
I was gonna ask, like, what was like some of the main things, like, if you could put on a list, like, let's say the top 3 thing people like, they come in, they're like, I want to learn how to do this thing specifically.
A specific thing,
that you kind of find reoccurring. Okay, people seem to really want to learn how to do, you know, X, Y, and Z.
Do you want to give your 3? Like, I've got my 3 from my first.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think the top 3. So filling online forms, but that's kind of general. But of the online forms, blue badge applications are popular.
Okay.
I mean, WhatsApp's still very popular.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's because a lot of people, especially in Lewisham, have family all over the world. So you know, it's free. To talk to people.
Yeah, I guess that's the first one that, you know, like, I guess, talking device that people will be using. Yeah, okay.
I mean, we tend to direct people in towards Google just because it's so integrated with other things.
With Android, especially with Android users, it's very easier to just set them up on a Gmail. And kind of just explain it that way.
But that might not be that they ask for that. That's because we kind of decide it's a good thing to have a Gmail.
Yeah,
it's a good thing to have a Google account.
Yeah, it's just
because of the apps you get with it.
Yeah.
As well as like, I guess they don't have to make a account every time when you can just sign up with Gmail. They also don't have to remember 7 billion different passwords. So I actually think that's a good thing. Yeah.
Another really common one is my phone is filling up because I've got no more space on it.
Space. Actually, okay. I see that because my mum does that the same. Yeah.
Oh, the space one is so... so, you know what? It's so fun. Like, I always laugh. Like, genuinely, I laugh. It's always, like, a funny experience for me because it's like, I need the help. I explain it to them. They realize they have to delete stuff, and they're like, I don't want to delete anything.
Yeah.
Like, then you kind of have to kind of explain to them, well, if you want more space,
you got
to get rid of some stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously, if their devices had, like, micro SD slots, like... most Androids do. I do suggest it, but it's also the case of like if I do suggest it, it's a case of the cost. Being able to do it themselves, they wouldn't typically do it themselves, and so I think for me it's always emails. So like being able to like not just get into the email account, but like basically every problem. Okay, this is a better way to explain it. It's not necessarily the emails that's the issue. It's like they'll have an issue that requires them to access their email, but then we then have to problem solve how to get into the email.
So the email's like the base of all.
I would say it's the base of a lot of queries. Mainly because a lot of them don't have two-step verification, and then trying to recover any sort of email without two-step verification is so much harder than it used to be. So that's one thing. I think the other thing, like Damien said, WhatsApp, like apps, understanding how to like send certain messages or like just pictures even. Yeah. Because they don't understand. Because another thing with Android users, you know how you have your regular Photos app, then you also have the Google Photos app. Gallery. So they get really confused by that.
I still get confused about that.
Yeah, it does get a bit confusing.
Syncing.
Yeah.
I get worried about that.
I usually turn mine off, and then if you want it, then I'll sync it afterwards. But I typically have it off with my iPhone.
That's interesting, the phone one about the storage, because in my head it would be like pretty, like you think, okay, I got a lot of stuff on my phone, but also some people, they don't realize how much, I guess, apps really take. Like when they download an app, they don't really think, okay, this one is, I don't know, 5 megabytes. They don't think this one is like, 60 megabytes and stuff like that. So for them, they're like, I don't even have that much, but maybe there's one app that they have downloaded and it's like so much space, but they don't really know what like a whole gigabyte actually is. So I guess teaching that to them be pretty helpful as well.
And you can say to people sometimes, you've got 3 gigabytes of WhatsApp images and they're mostly messages about Jesus or something like that.
Oh my God.
Do you want to keep
true.
Do you want to keep them? And they go, let me look through them. And I think, okay. You're going to check through every one. But anyway.
I like how you said that, but I guarantee if I go home for my mom, she has like the same thing, messages about Jesus that she would like send me like every month, like Happy New Month with like a picture of Jesus. And I think they don't realize, it's just like, and the thing is they'll send like a different one to like everyone. And then that slowly like racks up. So they think like, okay, this one image, or maybe it'll be a video as well. Yeah. And then they don't realize how long the video was and how much space it is. And they're like, I don't even have that much on my phone. And then it's like they don't really know what a gigabyte is. Like that's a whole different ball game, like to try to explain to them. So yeah, it's actually pretty interesting.
So maybe your course on clearing out memory and relating to WhatsApp, Google Photos, and so on, that might be a good idea for people, and then they could manage their phone space.
Because that will never really change too much.
Just that it's kind of set in stone what a megabyte is, gigabytes, and like terabytes. And
things will slowly. What will end up happening is things will slowly get to a point where devices will just store more. So it's just that it's just necessarily like the megabyte is now changing to a gigabyte and stuff like that. Sorry.
Are they storing more, like much more? I can't remember.
Phones have definitely gone up. Like, I remember back in the day when my phone could only have like a gig or two, and now it's not even a gig. Like I think it was before that, like gig, you could even get that kind of space.
But is it still going up? I don't know.
Yeah, like right now, I think my base phone for my iPhone 14 is 128.
Oh,
that's pretty nice.
okay.
So it is slowly going up.
iPhone 14, we don't deal in numbers like that with the sort of people, like the sort of second-hand phones. So that sounds good.
Yeah, it does go up. But even Androids, like, they typically are upscaling. It's just more of a case of like, obviously, when you're at the front of the market or the middle of the market, it will only go as the market goes on. Do you know what I mean?
As well as just having SD cards is just always blessed.
Which is why Android is better in my opinion. But I can't be bothered to switch back. I've already made my peace with it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, going back to like the kind of just cat bites in general. Like, are you happy with the progress? Like with what you've kind of put out there, essentially.
That's a good question because the thing is that I didn't mention. We went for funding for the council in 2021 and we got that, and then we got quite a big budget which paid for an extra staff member, and that has been the basis of the expansion. And that funding, which comes from Lewisham Council, will come to an end probably 2026, and we don't know what the future of the council is, or what the future funding will be anyway. It's probably, there's lots of cuts. And so we're at the stage now where I'm quite happy with the progress, but it's like it's about maintenance. It's about the more things you do, you have to maintain them.
Yeah, 100%. It's not about starting it; it's about continuing it.
Yeah, that can be a new thing, and then you're sort of starting to see yourself more in competition with other organisations that maybe they've been your mentors or they've been, and then after a while you start thinking, oh well, we could do it like this, we could do it. So you were sort of like when you're this cute organisation that just starting out, everyone loves you, but after a while you start to become
that's what happens with any brand. Like, you start grassroots and then it gets to a point
you
where
start to businessify it, I guess.
Well,
there's that as well.
There's that part of business. Well, you say businessify, I would say corporate. Just it starts to turn more corporate, but that's with any company. I think that can never change just because fundamentally money is being put in, so money has to come out somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
obviously it's a community investment company, isn't it? So.
Yeah, but I've started wearing a suit jacket top. After I went to a funeral, I thought, I quite like this look, so I started on it now. And it's from a charity. It's from a charity shop, but all the same, it's people going, you look smart because.
I remember when I first met you came.
That was my new look. You saw my new look, like business. Yeah.
In my head, I was like, that's not what I was expecting.
It wasn't what I was expecting a year ago. You change. You don't realise. You start. It
is nice to wear a suit, though. To be fair.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It depends how you feel about yourself, but it's almost like what I'm projecting. But I've been told it's manifesting. If you be it, then you sort of become
100%.
I'm at that age where
you become whatever like you really do. So like if you be wearing a suit a lot of the time, you're gonna feel like
So we're kind of at that point where it's. I feel like we're at a different level and we've got to maintain it. So I'm happy with the progress, but almost like it doesn't get any
it doesn't slow down.
More pleasant.
Yeah, it doesn't slow down either.
I
was gonna say, like, in terms of like just wrapping it up, is there anything that you may want to shout out or like just talk about, just like mention of Cat Bites last 2 minutes?
Oh, should have prepared that. Okay. Shout out as in something happening in the future.
Like, if you're doing anything that's like local or anything like that.
I mean, the big shout out is always, you've heard how wonderful it is to be a buddy and the wonderful experience, and we've got people here who feel that transformation apart from me. So, please get in touch. info@catbytes.community, or go to the website catbytes, and it's catbytes.community, and become part of it, and you can just come for one session and try it out buddying, and I think you'll find it's a pleasant experience and rewarding.
100% can verify that as someone that does it. I mean, I do. It's a slightly different thing for me because I get paid, but I mean, it's it's 100% rewarding.
It's so much more rewarding if you don't get paid, isn't it?
It would be. I was going to say it would be. You
can feel you glow with those.
You glow. You gain superpowers.
Because we only have volunteers, so.
No, but your volunteers are amazing, man. Like
they are.
Honestly, like speaking to Remy, Re.
Oh yeah.
Billy,
yeah.
I'm trying to shout Andrew.
Billy does the most drop-ins of anyone.
Honestly, Billy's amazing, man. Like, shout out to Billy. I know he asked me to do this, by the way.
Oh, Billy. Billy, shout out to Billy. Billy Betson.
Yeah.
Shout out to Billy. I don't know him, but he sounds like
we love
a good
Billy.
guy.
Yeah,
we started with John.
We
started with John, and now we're
no,
doing
honestly,
Billy.
he deserves a shout out, man.
Yeah,
Because every time a digital drop-in comes in, it's like, I try to come in early.
Yeah.
We'll do the drop-in, and then towards the end, it's like, we're just talking about football. And I love it. I love it.
Well, he comes from Charlton, so he comes a long way as well.
Yeah,
really?
He's very dedicated.
Oh, that's big.
And it's not like what's the word? Because he has is it leg?
Yeah. He's got a disability, mobility issue. Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't want to say. I didn't want to call it for it. I never asked.
He's putting in work then.
But he's amazing, man.
Yeah,
like, just seeing how, like, and I've learned from it. Like, I've never said it to him, but it's just like, that's another thing about the digital drop-in. You see how other people deal with other people.
Yeah, other people's
so
like teaching skills.
You just get to see it.
Yeah.
And so you absorb things without realizing. So shout out to all the volunteers that come to the digital drop-in at the Green Man. Obviously, there's more that go to the other drop-ins, but I can only shout out the ones that I've worked with.
Yeah.
But just to give out a shout out to Remy, he actually saw me when I was coming back from gym one time, just locally, and he just said, "I'll drop you wherever you need to go." And like the cafe I was going to is the other direction.
Oh, what a nice guy.
So yeah, you meet some amazing connections from volunteering, and like I think there's a lot to gain, and I think it's something that I've come to appreciate.
Yeah,
something I didn't realize that needs appreciating, to be honest. But yeah, that's our show with Mr. Damian from Catbytes.
Yeah, honestly, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, and
it's been therapeutic.
Honestly, I love having guests and just hearing their stories. Honestly, so for us, it's like honestly, you've blessed us with your presence.
Yeah, different perspectives.
Sure,
so I appreciate it,
and I'm sure you've got a busy schedule. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, engaging. Thanks. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.